hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, just to let you know, we've got a brand new website, drcharlieward.com, where all our videos will be loaded over the next few weeks, and you'll be able to view all of those there's no charge for watching any of those. We've moved them all onto our own platform because all the doctor ones, which are very, very important, have been taken down, so we've now got control over those, but every single video we post will be free to watch. That's very important for you to know. The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. But this is not an endorsement. This is just what I have done personally, and it's up to you. It's your choice. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice on financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos. Thank you.
And how are you?
Oh,
what an honor to meet you.
You too. I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because of what you've been through and what I've been through the brainwashing and indoctrination and what have you. Yours was different to mine because yours was MK Ultra. Mine was just from a religious cult. And when I was 23, I came out and had to relearn so many things. So when you talk to somebody that's been through programming, mind control, it's like talking to a kindred spirit. It's like when I lost my firstborn son 11 years ago. People who've lost their own children understand it, whereas people who've lost their parents, old people die. That's a fact of life. We get used to that. But when you lose a brother or sister or your own child, and certainly your firstborn child, then you can talk to people that you're on the same frequency. And the same with you and I. We've been through certain things in our life that we've had to deal with ourselves and get ourselves out of.
Yes, we did, didn't we, Charlie?
Exactly. But this is when you get a feeling of a kindred spirit. When I read the bio that was sent to me about you, I went, wow, I can't wait to meet and discuss, because we're both in a completely different place now from where we were when we started our journey.
Yes, indeed.
I'm in a very peaceful place now, where I've been through trauma. I've been through all kinds of things.
Yes, I'm about halfway through your book, or not quite halfway. I can see you were a bit of a naughty boy in back in the day, weren't you?
I was, and it was a rebellion. And it's I've often said with women in general, if you treat a woman like a bird in a cage, if you shut the cage door, she'll always want to leave. But the minute you leave it open, the bird won't bloody leave. And that's very much, I grew up with a life being completely and utterly controlled. And of course, once I forced my way out the door, I was all over the place. And I don't regret anything.
Because it's very understandable, because all of that contained energy and frustration and shame. There's a lot of shame involved in those kind of situations.
Yes,
and you're trying to rid yourself. I see that you had some drug years and stuff like that. And, that's pretty common, the pain of coming out of those kind of, I'm also a drug and alcohol counselor. I've got about 10 things I do. And I worked for many years, Charlie, with addicted people in different treatment centers with multiple, dual diagnoses, and prisoners, all kinds of different things, drivers who were driving drunk and everything. And so many of them had really serious childhood trauma. And you know what, Charlie, I'm discovering that there were literally millions of people that went through MK Ultra. I'm not the only one. I happen to be a little bit more visible at the moment, but the stories these people tell me when they start to get clean and sober are heart-wrenching and also beautiful in some, because they made a decision to heal, like you and I have. And then they discover who they are, they discover God, they discover peace, and this shell of their old self falls away and their true self comes out. And that's what I say about myself. You know, you probably haven't read my book, and here it is right here. Oh, you can't see it. Oh, wait,
Yes, yeah, I can. Yep. Emerging from the Matrix.
Yes, and it's called, the subtitle is Healing Human Trauma and Ending Global Enslavement.
Yeah.
And as horrific as my childhood was, I also had the blessing of my mother being a healer. And she brought all these master healers to me. And that's how I got well. And so I had the dark and the light together. And this journey catapulted me into becoming a healer. So now I know how to heal the dark with the light. So I use that to heal people. I mean, you could be somebody that's really like some of these characters that are doing what they're doing now. Some of them are going to come for healing, Charlie. Some of them are going to come for healing. And I hope they do. Because anybody can heal. I feel like that's my message, one of my messages. You know, you've been through it. I'm sure you went through a lot of stuff to get to your peace that you're at today.
Yeah, very much so. It's something that when you've been through certain sufferings in life, you don't know why you're suffering at the time. And then when you get to this stage now, you realize the value of that suffering.
Exactly.
To be able to help other people. And I've looked at so many details. I look at government, and I like this little analogy. You know, governments around the world, especially in the UK, they have a finance minister who doesn't, and you know, he's not got a degree in finance, or he's not been in the world of banking, but he's just got that job because his mate is the prime minister, and they've got these different people in these different jobs. But then I was told, but he's got a team around him that know exactly what they're talking about. And I said, look, let me put it in simple terms. My wife is a gymnast. If you surrounded Charlie Ward with gymnasts, it wouldn't make Charlie Ward ever a gymnast.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work that way. And this is all bullshit from these people who want to control people. And you're right, moving us away from this enslavement and these corrupt people, we're moving into a wonderful period now. And what you've been through and what I've been through has just stood us in good stead for guiding people. You mentioned earlier about the connection with God. And I think one very important point to point out is that this is where we connect with our spiritual side, not our religious side.
Right.
One brings us
Exactly.
together, the other divides us.
No, I think that's exactly why you and I went through what we went through, Charlie, even though I've never met you before, but I just look so forward to this moment that I often wondered, like, why am I going through all this? You know, what's going to happen? Am I just going to, you know, keel over and die? It went on and on and on for a really long time. And then I was also a targeted individual, if you know what that is.
Yes.
So I was targeted by the Illuminati because I knew things.
Yeah.
And they didn't, I told them I was going to write a book, you know. And it's like, too bad, I'm going to do it. I'm really a strong rebel.
Yeah.
So before I knew it, I had to go through this financial stripping that they do to people, you know, when they want to make sure that you have no options and no voice and no, you know, anybody to protect you. But they didn't count on this divine mama here who loves God so much, you know, that I just said, God, you show me the way to that place where we're done with this and I can turn around and help people. Because I feel like this is what I was born for, is right now, Charlie. Now, look at what's going to happen after this event on Wednesday, is there's going to be millions of people who are going to be traumatized and fearful and confused. I've already been through all that. I'm over it, you know? And I want people to understand that this is a transformation. It's a spiritual transformation. This isn't about Democrats and Republicans or Trump and Biden. This is about an awakening, a divine plan that I feel that God set it up as part of the election was really awaken people. And look at it's a global event. It's not an American event. It's a global event. Everybody's waking up. Wouldn't you say?
Very much so. This is the period of the Great Awakening. And for those people that have moved out of the third dimension, and I liken it to being in a box or in the woods. When you step out of the woods, you can see the sky and you can see the trees. But when you're in the woods, you can only see the woods. And when you step outside, you sort of you come through the fourth dimension to the fifth dimension. The fourth dimension, which is what you and I have been through, is where you just don't know what's true and what's not true anymore. And when you get to the fifth dimension, you get clarity as to what is truth and what is not truth. And then you can move through the different dimensions once you literally surrender yourself to God, and God will guide you through those dimensions.
You nailed it right there. You summed it up. I mean, and especially when you're being pursued or tortured, like I was, and I finally just said, okay, God, you're going to have to take me because I don't understand why I'm going through this moment. I'll let you guide me. And so at every moment when there was something scary happening, I would just surrender and say, you got me, God, take me. And there was so many miracles along the way. I know you haven't had a chance to look at my book, but I've had like 7 near-death experiences. I died and left my body, had viral meningitis. That's when I remembered that I was an MK Ultra. I had the memories, and then immediately thereafter, I got very ill because the toxins were leaving my body from all the stuff and torture they put me through.
Wow.
And I just said, God, I'm not done yet. I have children to raise. I have people to help, because I was a healer. And I said, show me what to do to heal everything, because Jesus did it. And I know that it can be done again. And I choose to believe in total healing and have faith in you to put me on that path. And sure enough, Charlie, I came back. Yeah. And God showed me how to heal people. And I said, I promise I'll serve you, God. Just let me live a few more years. And that's what I've been doing. I've been healing people.
Do you know what? I remember the first time I saw somebody, and it was a gentleman called Reinhard Bonnke, who has a congregation in South Africa, but he was of 100,000 every week. But he was in Newport, South Wales, in the United Kingdom, and this was 15, 20, maybe no, it was more than this, probably 25, 30 years ago, and I'd never experienced anything to do with healing, as in people that could heal people. And he laid his hands on the knees of a man in a wheelchair, and then held his hands and lifted him out of the wheelchair, and he walked. And I'll be honest with you, at that stage, I freaked out and left the church. I walked out because I thought that's mental. That's how I thought. My brain couldn't compute it. And then I thought to myself afterwards, if you buy a dishwasher from Hotpoint and it breaks down, you take it back to Hotpoint and they'll repair it for you. So if you believe that God made man, which I do, then if somebody's got a connection with God, you say to him, God, could you sort this one out? It needs sorting out. And so if you have that connection, then to me, it made sense that if you've got somebody who can connect to God, they can say, look, sort this one out for me. We've got a problem here. And that's how I dealt with it. But at the time when it first happened, when I saw this guy stand up out of a wheelchair, having been paralyzed from birth, I was it was too much for my mind at that stage to comprehend. And sometimes, we have to go through it. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you. Did you finish?
No, that's fine.
Well, that's exactly, when I got really sick, the doctors, I got paralyzed from the viral meningitis, and I had a fever of 105 for 3 weeks, but it was directly the day that I was having my memories of being MK Ultra. So I knew they were connected. And I had this near-death experience, and that was when I said, I believe that anyone can be healed of anything, because Jesus did it before and told us that anybody can be healed. And he demonstrated it. And I thought, show me how to do that, God, show me how. And so I was shown the entire scope of how you heal, and what the energy field of the body is more powerful than anybody could ever realize. Our bodily fluids actually have the imprint of love, unconditional love, and we can call upon it to heal ourselves. And so after I was able to walk again, I went to the doctor, Charlie, and asked him to, what was wrong with me? Why was I paralyzed? What did I have? So he gave me a blood test, and he said, I'm going to take you to the hospital right now. Oh my God, you have viral meningitis. He said, you're going to die today. And I said, no, I already died and I'm back. And he said, you don't have any red blood cells. Your blood system is completely dead. It's just white blood cells. And he said, it's not humanly possible for anybody to walk around. How did you do it? And I said, God did it. This is the miracle of healing that you're witnessing. And he said, I don't even know how to explain it, because without red blood cells, you can't breathe. And I said, but I am. And that, to me, the fact that a doctor couldn't explain it shows that there are miracles that can happen with faith. And that's what we're working on right now, really, with this election and everything, is faith. That's what I've been trying to tell people, is to hang in there. There's a lot of people dropping by the wayside, and it's like, I've already been through way scarier things than this. We need to stay strong and trust that, this is part of God's divine plan. Trump is part of God's divine plan. We have to just let it play itself out, don't we, Charlie?
We do, and you've nailed it there, because these people that are falling by the wayside are programmed by the television. So they're looking, it's a bit, I've likened it before to looking down the toilet for gold. You're not going to find it. And for as long as you're sat there looking at the television, you're going to destroy any hope of survival of what's inside. The minute you turn off the television, the minute you do that, then you'll start the healing process. And I mean, when I say turn off the television, don't go down the road and buy the newspapers either. If you want to,
right.
If you want to find out what the truth is, then you can start your research. And people say, well, where do I start? Well, I personally set up a web page called thejasaraclub.com. My team did. So we've got
a member.
Yeah, we got 20 or 30 or 40 people on there. So you don't have to just listen to me. You can listen to anybody, and we'd love to have you on there as well. Anybody that's of positive, I'll get Lee to contact you. Anybody that's of a positive message that's telling the truth is welcome there, so that anybody can come and listen to people that are telling the truth. Because we're moving away.
Oh, that's so important.
It is. But look, I've always said, I'm not the Messiah, I'm just Charlie. And not everybody will find me palatable. Some people will, some people won't. Some people will find you easy to listen to. Some people will find Prime Minister palatable to listen to, Nick Veniamin. There's many different people. Melanie Kay, Mel Kay, Anne van der Steel. They're all different people. Sasha Stone, David Icke. They're all very different people, but they're all pieces of the puzzle. And if you want to see the clear picture, you need to listen to them all to get clarity. I'm just one little piece. That's it. And when I connect with another piece, sorry.
You're the sweetest piece, Charlie. You're the sweetest piece.
Oh,
you make it more palatable for people. And I think you give people hope. And and that's what I try to do.
Yeah.
And you're saying, if people want the truth, that's why I wrote this book, Charlie, because maybe they're going to kill me because they were pursuing me. And I thought, I need to write everything down that I learned about spiritual awakening, about the matrix, and about truth. And I need to blow the lid off this thing. And, I don't want anybody else to be MK Ultra. I don't want anybody else to go through this Masonic initiation and stuff that I had to go through. I want people to be free. And I also want them to see that I survived. I'm strong. I healed. And this was with my faith and my strength and my connection to God. Is that how this happened? And it's possible. It's possible for anybody, no matter how far down you are, because I was at the bottom, I mean, they took my house away, everything. And I was just like, you know what? You're not going to stop me, because God has another plan for us. And I feel like everything that's happening right now is in divine order. It's part of this plan, and it's excruciating because it's testing everybody's faith. Don't you think this is like a giant test?
It is, you know, we've, the positive thing from my childhood of going to church every single day of my life until I was 23, the positive thing was a word called fellowship, where you're with like-minded
Yes.
people. And if you're an alcoholic or a drug dealer, you've got Alcoholics Anonymous and, you know, Narcotics Anonymous, where you've got like-minded people that you can help each other. That's a positive thing when you mix with like-minded people and you can share your journey with each other and give each other strength. That's a good thing. And that's probably the one thing that I hold dear to me as growing up, the positives, because it's very, very easy in life just to look at the negatives, but to try and take something positive out of every negative will make you become a positive person.
Well, that's what my work is, Charlie, is turning the dark to the light.
Correct.
It's like I had to reprogram myself mentally. You know, I went through the MK Ultra Mind Control program to become a beta sex slave, a beta sex kitten. They were training me for one of two things, Hollywood or NASA, because they also gave me the human computer mind control program, so I can like read a book really fast and everything. And everything was negative, you know. I'm a bad person. My father used to say, no one's ever going to love you. You're so horrible. No one can stand you. And that's how they lower your vibration to keep control of your energy field. We're talking about more than just mental. It's mental enslavement, emotional enslavement, it's physical enslavement, and then it's energy, spiritual enslavement, because they do black magic, they do spells on you. And then there's the trauma that they mix in, and then they play tapes in your ear and a dozen, and other techniques that they use to twist and distort your perception of yourself so that you're controllable. In fact, I've had healers, or they said they could see the markings of the Masons on my aura, people that can read auras.
Yeah.
So that you broke the sex slave programming, didn't you? And I said, yes, I did. I couldn't believe they could see it. I didn't even tell them. But other men who've been trained could see my programming, and they would come to try to hurt me or take advantage of me until I broke that programming. And I believe, Charlie, that the next phase on this planet is going to be to deprogram humanity. Because everybody got captured. Their consciousness got captured, their energy got captured by the TV and by the movies and all these things. And we have to break the spell, Charlie. We have to break the spell, don't we?
I think we're doing it already. I think we're already on that journey, and we're just there to guide people through this now. You and I both know that we're coming out of darkness into light. Because of my naughty side, when I shine my torch on the floor to show them the way out of the cave, I'm still tempted to shine it in their face to blind them, to make them realize what they've missed, which is a bit naughty. But I've got to learn just to show them the way out so that I can guide them in a nice way. There's the naughty side wants to slap them around the face on the way out and say, "I told you so." Because
I know. But it's tempting, isn't it? Yeah, I went through a phase of being really, really angry. Yes. Obviously, I mean, it's like, so you tortured and raped me for a bunch of years. Now what? So you think it's funny? Well, wait till it's, the karma is a cycle that comes back, and then you're going to be coming to me for healing. And what I realize in my role now is that forgiveness has to be the most important thing of all. Is like, okay, you guys got captured by the same spirits that everybody else got captured by. We're going to break the spell. Yeah. And I did that with the JFK assassin. I mean, I don't know if you got a chance to look at that in my bio, but that's when I knew that I could deprogram people. I mean, literally, that's who came to me, was JFK's, one of his assassins. I think there was more than one that day. Yeah. But I got drawn into this whole drama, and it's coming to an end right now. I can remember saying to God, why am I being given this information? Mm-hmm. He gave me, when I deprogrammed him, he told me the entire JFK assassination really happened. and what his role was. And he said they MK Ultra'd him. And I asked him, why are you still alive if you're a man on the grassy knoll? And he had proof and everything to show me. And I said, why are you still alive? Why didn't they just kill you? And he said, because of the favors, the people I killed for them. And he said, they told me if I submitted to MK Ultra programming, that they would let me live the rest of my life. And so he did. And it was the same similar thing that I went through. And I realized that it could be broken because I broke it with him. And he got clean and sober, Charlie. And you know why he did this? Because he fell in love. And his wife said, I want you to get well. I want you to get sober. I don't know why you're like this, but he was an alcoholic because of everything he'd done. Mm-hmm. And because of love, he decided to heal. And that's what's going to heal this planet is love. I know that's what's going to heal us all, Charlie, don't you think?
Very, very much so. And you hit on another point there, that you cannot drown your sorrows. Alcohol is a spirit that will actually bring you down, not bring you up. It will bring you up for a time in the evening or when you're consuming it, but the next day you come to a lower low. So it's an artificial lift. And this is where so many people who've been through so much, you and me especially, who've, you know, I've tried to drown my sorrows in alcohol and drugs in the past, and I tried to bury them all away. And it's not until you stop that and then address that issue that you can start to make progress in your life. And the journey is never easy. But as we all know in life, nothing worth having is easy.
No, and in my case, nobody wanted to hear it when I started to talk about it, because the rest of my family members experienced similar situations. They didn't want to hear it, except for my mom didn't know. And so when we started to wake up, a lot of stuff happened. My sister passed away from it. That's when everything blew right open in the family. And I was trying to tell people, this is why this happened. And that, of course, got me exiled and scapegoated and pursued and persecuted and all that. And I said, well, I'm not going to go back down into the lie. I'm not going to go back down into the enslavement. I'm going to hold that space, that sacred space of healed energy, where the dark has been healed, the wound has been healed, the fear has been healed. And that's, you guys can come to me. And so I've had to go through this pretty much by myself. And, you know, even worse is the fact that they didn't want me to write what I wrote.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they almost got me off the planet, Charlie. But this book has so much truth in it that this is a good book for people to start with. I'm not trying to make any money off of this. I haven't even broken even yet. But I packed it with everything in case something happened to me, that people would just by reading my book. Well, I just want to see the world free, Charlie. I want to see everybody free of enslavement.
Sure. We'll put the link to your book down below here. If you send that across to our team, we'll make sure that's there so that so that our viewers can see that, because all of this information will be valuable to you when as we transition from darkness into light. And there are many people out there that have been set aside for this moment, who've been on a journey right for this moment.
Absolutely. Definitely. In fact, you know, I really want to address that right here with you, that most of my followers come to me in that, you know, I have a lot of followers. I'm not very famous or anything, but I do have a lot of followers, and they're like spiritual or they're wounded. And they're always asking me, you know, what about this and that? So I give them the healing information, but I want them to understand the patriot information, that there's a reason why this is happening. That I think that this election is about freedom, and it's about freedom for the soul and for the mind, as well as for just people, you know, in America or the rest of the world. And so they're always asking me all these questions. I mean, I get a little bit of intel. I have a couple of folks that tell me things, but I'm not, you know, an insider as much as you are. Everybody's afraid right now, and I keep telling them, don't be afraid. Wouldn't you say, from what you see, that we're probably not going to have a president on Wednesday? And I'm sorry if you have to repeat this information, but my followers have never heard it. That maybe on March 4th, we might have a new president or of a new republic, and that things are going to be transitioning from one to another, not the way they think, right?
I think you're absolutely bang on right there. And just for your viewers who haven't heard me talk about it, the corporation of the United States of America no longer exists. So there will be no president as such as from tomorrow. So this is also an important point about whether I don't actually believe that Joe Biden will be inaugurated tomorrow either. I think that's fairly clear because
it's Wednesday for us.
Oh, Wednesday, that's true. Yeah. He was arrested and dealt with last year. So
he has been arrested?
He has been arrested and he has been dealt with. So what we're seeing is CGI or clones or body doubles or whatever. But there's a million and one reasons why he won't be the president. I think we'll go through the transition. You're absolutely right. From the corporation of the United States of America to the new republic that I have chosen to call Nasara and Jasara because of the work that's been done previously. And for anybody that wants to find out what Nasara is, you can simply go onto the internet, and I recommend you use the search engine DuckDuckGo rather than Google because they hide a lot of stuff. And just type in the word Nasara, Nesara, and then you can study as to the new world that we're coming into. And where the reason I said I don't think that Donald Trump will be the next president, I think he'll transition us as a president, but I think because of the terminology that we've been using that it's a five-dimensional game of chess. I think the new world and the new people that are in it will have different titles away from president and vice president and etc. etc. What those titles will be, I don't know, but if you take the chess part into play, you get rid of the queen very early on. She's gone, and you get rid of the pawns very early on, but the king remains to win the game. And I wonder if he may be inaugurated as a king rather than the president. I don't know.
That's interesting.
That's a Charlie thought, but certainly in the Nasara Jasara government, there will be he will be the initial leader, I understand. Either him or JFK Jr. I don't know which one, but I assume it will be Donald Trump for now. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. I'm very, very calm and I'm very, very relaxed right now, knowing that we're transitioning from darkness into light. And the pair of us will be there to help people and guide people out of the darkness into a beautiful world. And we're moving away from the world of enslavement.
I know.
Mind control.
Who wants to go back there? Why would anybody want that? You know, it's like, come on, let's have some faith and create the new world together. I'm ready, you know. And that's why I wanted to ask you, because a lot of my followers are afraid, and you know a lot more than most people, and so you can with confidence say that Donald Trump is going to continue as our leader in whatever capacity. I understand all this stuff you're talking about. The republic is being given back to us. I know that Donald Trump has dismantled the Banking Act of 1870. I know that he's dismantled the Federal Reserve. I hope he dismantled the Glass-Steagall Act. And I don't know if he did, but all of those banking things that were enslaving the people financially, I think he's gotten rid of. And he's completing the job that JFK started by establishing the republic with a gold standard. Is it going to be a gold standard, or is it going to be, what do you think? Is it going to be cryptocurrency or Bitcoin? What's it going to be?
It's going to be, I've been working with the quantum financial system, which is a gold-backed currency worldwide. There will still be banknotes, there'll still be coins. In America, it'll be the USN, the US note, and the US coin, along with the digital currency, which is taken the power away from the deep state. But you have nothing to fear, because if you've got money in there in US dollars, it will be exchanged straight for US notes. And it'll
So
be
are we going to be financially sound after this transition happens?
100%. You're going to be a lot better financially than you are right now. And what's been taken from you will be compensated with the new system. And this is where he's taking us away from the enslavement that they've had. Whilst, just so that you know, over the weekend, Donald Trump's team, military team, went into the CIA headquarters and seized a tremendous amount of information. But they also managed to find that the Bushes and the Clintons had embezzled over 100 trillion US dollars.
Where's all that money, Charlie? Where are we going to see it again?
Yes, they've already managed to recover 35 trillion, which is already Trump already has full control of. They will find the rest of it. Don't worry about that. But they're finding a lot of things. A lot of things are happening right now, and they are totally in control. One very interesting piece of information that that will surprise a lot of people is that Iran is actually working with Donald Trump.
I've heard that, and I'm really happy to hear that, because we should be done with enemies.
Yep.
But didn't NATO, aren't they part of the coup?
They're part of the problem. NATO, the United Nations, and a number of the charities, UNICEF, Oxfam, all of these boys, they're all working with the dark side. But the light side is becoming brighter and brighter, and will destroy them, I can assure you. And the one thing I will say, which I think you'll agree with me, is you don't have to take my word for it. If you set your moral compass accurately, and you take the information that's out there, and you trust in God, he will tell you whether it's right or wrong.
Now you're talking about intuition, and you know what? This is one of my favorite topics that I really wanted to bring up with you, because
Brilliant.
First of all, just being here with you right now shows me there's a healing taking place on the planet between the divine feminine and the sacred masculine. And I believe that men who are intuitive, like you and like Michael Lako and other men that are coming forward and saying, you know, yeah, we were warriors, yeah, we were bad boys, but now we're intuitive. These are the men that have welcomed the sacred feminine into their hearts and their minds and their lives, and they're using their intuition. As a woman alone, I'm single, Charlie. As a woman alone, I had to fight this battle alone. And so I developed my sacred masculine as a way of surviving.
Yep.
And that's what I had to do. But now what I see is we're coming together. And when that polarity is balanced between the males and the females, where men are actually protecting the sacred feminine like they're supposed to, instead of exploiting us and, you know, using us as sex objects like they tried to do with me. And when we are supporting one another, because we female energy, you see this behind me? This is the Divine Mother entering the earth. This is Mother Mary here. This is the energy that is pouring over the planet right now. It's about healing, nurturing, abundance, and creativity. And that's what we want to give you guys. And it was the old system that was blocking it. It was like, no, only rough and tough guys can run the world, and only Satanists can run the world, and all of that. I say, get ready for us divine mamas, because we're here, and we're going to partner with guys like you, and we're going to create a healed environment where people can prosper and grow and be abundant. Projects where they can, healing centers. I want to make a healing center, Charlie, where everybody can come and get restored. I know the technology is there, and they're blocking that. And it's no more blockages for this divine feminine energy. That's what I say that to all the people listening right now. We're coming in to heal. Get out of the way, you know.
Exactly right. I got accused the other day of working for the CIA. And then I realized I actually do. I work for Charlie's International Angels.
Yes, we do. Or the Cosmic Intelligence Agency.
That's true. That's true.
You know, sometimes I call myself an undercover agent, you know, I mean, angel. It's like, I dropped down into this family situation with a whole bunch of Masons in our lineage. Oh, Charlie, my lineage is insane. we've got on one side, my great grandfather and my grandfather, all these people were KKK, and they were founding the KKK in Kentucky. On the other side, my mother is this brilliant healer. She was a Pulitzer Prize winning, she was a Juilliard piano scholar, a Reiki master, a painter. You can't believe how incredible all the women are. Abraham Lincoln is our ancestor on my mom, and Jesse James is our ancestor on my dad's side. I'm bringing together, we also have a Roman emperor on my dad's side.
Yeah.
I think what's happening with people like me is that we're bringing together these broken parts for healing, the fragments of consciousness of different parts of this planet that got lost in the darkness. And we're bringing them together into this beautiful, I represent that, you know. I love my dad anyway, I forgive him. I love my mom, all the people that hurt me, I forgive them. And it's time for us to become one people, one planet, and a healed humanity. Does that sound good to you?
It sounds amazing, but it reminds me also of when we were in the Middle East, and Justin pointed out to one of the sheikhs that Mummy was a Muslim and Daddy was a Christian, and if you put the two together, you get perfection, which was Justin.
Oh, is that your youngest son?
That's right. Yeah, he's 11 years old, and he's a very, very clever little young man.
See, so there's probably not going to be any religions in the future, really. I think we're all going to be on the same path, don't you think?
I agree. I think religion is very divisive, but I think spirituality is what brings us together. Because my best friend in life, which I have mentioned before, Stevie G, he regards himself technically as an atheist, and he and I have never ever fallen out about it, because we worked out the other day that he's a very spiritual person, and so am I. But he's not a religious person, so he was way ahead of me when it came to that. He was connected with his spiritual side. He also absolutely loves his yoga, which keeps him in touch with his spiritual side.
Is yoga? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you said Yoda.
Oh, yoga.
Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. He keeps him in control of his mind and allows his mind to open up to what's out there.
Well, I have a practice of chanting and meditation. You know, I came in contact with some divine masters, some really incredible people, including the Grand Master of Reiki, who has trained me and attuned me and initiated me, but also the Holy Mother Amici. So this really powerful feminine masters have come and trained me to embody that love energy and that healing energy. And when that's partnered properly and sacredly with the male energy, it's unstoppable. And see, this thing behind me is a Merkaba. That's what happens when the male and the female are together properly. It creates a light body it's impenetrable. They can never harm us. And that's what they were trying to do, is separate us and divide us, weren't they, Charlie?
Always, right from the very start. When I was a child growing up, it was Protestant against Catholic, and then it was black against white. It was Muslim against Christian, Sunni against Shia, man against woman. They've desperately tried to divide us, because they know that if they kept us divided, we would never stand up against them. But now everybody is coming together from every aspect and every side and standing up against evil, and they don't stand a chance, because they represent a very, very small percentage, and we will expose them for what they are, and we will destroy them, but we will kill them with kindness.
You said it perfectly. I mean, I think it's going to happen like maybe Wednesday, hopefully, that we see the videos. And then, you know, I don't have any revenge against these people. It's like, if you're not going to heal, leave the planet, is the way I see it. If you refuse to surrender this evil, then you don't belong here anymore, because the vibration has raised to the point where we can't entertain any more of this dark kind of controlling energy. All of us are going to rise up to another vibration where we are sovereign and free. And Donald Trump supports that. And I also, before I forget, I want to say, this is Martin Luther King Day in America.
Yes.
And I want to honor the great freedom fighters throughout history, all over the world. I mean, right now we're focused on this American situation, but I believe that this freedom that we're about to get is for the whole world, and it's just being demonstrated through our election, that once Donald Trump finishes liberating all of this, it liberates the whole world. And people that are against him do not realize what a heroic figure he is. And I want to call out all the great patriots and freedom fighters throughout history, people like Martin Luther King. Thank you for fighting for the freedom of our beloved African American brothers and sisters. And you get hated when you do that. Of course, they killed him. Malcolm X, another freedom fighter, JFK and RFK, both. And by the way, my JFK assassin client told me a lot of information about those assassinations, which I have been unable to share for many years, and because he was still alive. And then go all the way back to people like Harriet Tubman, and then in the Revolutionary War, Patrick Henry, George Washington. What a hero George Washington was, like laying the groundwork for what we're about to experience today, where he planted the seeds of freedom and democracy in the Constitution and in America, which are bearing fruit today. And then here comes Donald Trump, and yeah, he's got a brash personality. We all see that, but it takes a gangster to kick out the gangsters, doesn't it?
Yeah, you couldn't have a pussycat kicking out the gangsters, I can assure you. It's very interesting with Donald Trump, because the people who know him, and I speak every week to Mel Kay, she worked for him for many years. She knows him personally. The family go to the same church. So they know each other very, very well. She tells me that he's extremely different to what the media portray him as. And all we're seeing, I've never met him, so I don't know what he's like. So I can only take it from people who've met him rather than people who've seen him on television. And we all say he's brash and what have you, because we've seen him on The Apprentice. And he has a certain way about him. But
yes,
the one thing that's very clear is he does not suffer fools. Anybody that comes to him with a pure heart, he's probably the kindest person on the planet. He's the most loving father and grandfather. You can see that with his family. His family means everything to him. And that's a good example. He doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. Explain to me what's wrong with him.
Well, as we all know, the media is owned by the cabal. Yes. And so when do you ever get anything? Why? That's why I started my own TV show. I thought, I'm just going to blast it out there. Nobody knows who I am. But suddenly, you know what? This is how I know it's the right thing, is that God has pushed me to the forefront, because I've been telling the truth for 30 years. And I took the blows for that. And now I'm getting whatever reward. I mean, it's not like I'm a millionaire or anything, but at least I can finally say it and people are listening.
Sure.
And I'm so relieved. And when I see what he's doing, my heart goes out to him. Who would want to be attacked every single day in the news and all the things that are his life in danger and assassination attempts? He doesn't have to do it, but he knows that this is his divine mission and he's going to finish it. And I think people are going to look upon him fondly in history as a heroic, not just for America, but for the world. To remove the cabals, which have been here for thousands of years, this is really, really enormous. Of course, God is working with all of this group of people. We know it's not just Donald Trump, but, we need to give him credit where credit is due. And I'm tired of what I see in the media. And I've heard what you said, that he's kind and behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. So it's not safe for him to be his real self in front of the public. He has to put on a facade and he has to act like, oh, whatever, I don't care or whatever. But inside, I think he hurt inside, that he has to go through all that. It's got to be painful, don't you think?
It has. And the one thing that we see from a visual point of view, for some reason, he looks younger than when he started 4 years ago, which can't be said for any of the previous administrations.
Do you think maybe he's got a med bed or something hidden back there in the White House?
I think he's got a med bed with Melania inside it as well.
Yeah, well, that's one kind of healing, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you know, I think that he is being assisted. I mean, we can talk about this for a minute. Don't you think he's being assisted by like benevolent ETs and higher beings and things like that?
God is
Can you
definitely
address
looking
that?
after him. God is looking after him and he's guiding him without a shadow of a doubt. And I haven't at any stage seen any sign of frustration with him. He's been very, very humble on this journey, but he's been very, very direct. And that fills me with confidence because I don't watch the mainstream media. I don't read the newspapers. When I follow people, I follow Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, General Flynn, and most of the Trump team. And I try and work out exactly what's going on. I was told right at the very start, beware of red flags, and there's been plenty of them for
Oh boy, haven't
distractions.
you?
Yeah. But at not one stage have I lost my faith at any stage on this journey, because I know the destination. I just didn't know the journey. And we've been down some bumpy roads and it's been a very exciting journey. But the reality is, Salini, it's only just begun.
I think so, Charlie. I love hearing you say that because I've taken some flack here for standing up for him. There are people who are really mad at me for doing that. I
Yep.
wasn't a Trump supporter in the beginning. You know, I didn't vote for him while I was living in Bali the last election. And, but we didn't really know what he was here to do. When he got elected, it was like, why is this happening? I mean, I would never have voted for Hillary, but I remember my confusion at first. And then I started studying what he was doing. And I thought, oh my God, he's actually going to dismantle this system. And it was scary and weird at first, but now I can see how amazing it is, quite frankly.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're moving into the next phase of it. And I'm trying to explain it to people. And I, you know, I don't get to tell like you do probably. I tell them as much as I can by using my intuition and a few little things that I do know, that, and by faith, because inside the Holy Spirit told me you were born for this time. I was actually told when I was 17 that when I was the age I'm at now, that I would be needed for a great darkness that would overtake the earth. And this woman told my mother, she said, your daughter's going to be helping many people in this darkness that's coming in this particular year. And I was, you know, I knew something was coming, but we didn't know that it was going to be like this, did we?
No.
And so I just thought, I'm going to hold on, Charlie. I'm not going to be, I don't want to be those people that peters out, you know. I want to be able to say to people, I stood for freedom.
Yes.
That's why I want to call out. Look at what Martin Luther King had to go through. You know, look at what Harriet Tubman and there's so many of them, you know, Paul Revere. I kind of feel like Paul Revere. I've been saying for 30 years, you're going to see a time that now it's happening. And everybody was furious at me. And now we have some freedom fighters like Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell. You know, Rudy Giuliani is rising to the occasion, isn't he? And a few others, you know, that we didn't expect to show up. Oh, I know who I wanted to say. Those 6 senators who stood in to object.
Yeah.
The impeachment will go down in history as heroes.
Yeah.
And the rest of them will probably go down in history as traitors. So the only 2 or 3 I know, there was Ted Cruz. He stood up as a hero. And Josh Hawley. Mm-hmm. And they harassed his wife. She just had a baby. And I want to say, you are a hero in my book, you too. And the other 4, I don't know their names of the other 4 senators that stood up, but they are heroes in a very scary time for us here in America, you know?
The war is won. We're just seeing the pantomime play out now. And this is what gives me confidence and peace and calm right now, is knowing that the battle is won. It's now just the pantomime. And today and tomorrow, we were warned about, well, today for me, tomorrow for you.
We have one more day.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the day before the inauguration.
Yeah, that's right. The 19th is popcorn day.
Is there something going to happen on the 19th?
I'm sure we're going to get some revelation on the 19th, but we'll get a lot more information on the 20th. So sit back and enjoy the show and just know that everything is in place. Everything is under control. and it's very, very exciting at the moment to be alive. It's an amazing.
It is. You know what? To be living in interesting times, Charlie, you know,
Totally.
isn't that what makes life the richest possible life?
Oh, incredible. It's just a beautiful time to be alive. And you're absolutely right. You know, the helping people guide people when they find out they've been lied to. You and I know what it's like. I was lied to all my life. And then the trouble was I was
Amen.
lied to by my parents. So it became far harder for me at the age of 23 to unpick everything I'd learned. And it did take me 2.5 years to find my feet, but a total of 10 years to unpick everything. It takes a long time. It doesn't happen easily because you've been brainwashed, indoctrinated into certain things that you're taught as a child. You're taught.
That's exactly it. And now the world has been indoctrinated to this fake matrix,
Yeah.
with a fake president, a fake matrix, and a fake election. It's like, When that started happening, and then not even mention the whole virus thing.
Sure.
I was just like, I'm not going to be quiet. No way I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to sing to the high heavens the truth, even if it kills me, because I knew that we were being led to slaughter. And I did not want that to happen to humanity, Charlie. I did not want that to happen.
This was our calling.
And, you know, Charlie, the rest of my work is that I have created a mystery school for healing all of this stuff. Like I said in the beginning, the next thing that has to happen is the deprogramming of the entire world, the releasing of your shadow energies, these old dark energies. And all of that is what I do. If you go to my website, salini.love, which they took down last week, by the way. I'm not even very famous or anything, but somebody took down my website last week. So I guess I'm having an impact of some kind.
Definitely. You know, we get to take. I'm just doing a job there, and I've been under attack. You're under attack. They're not happy about the fact that we're exposing them, and they are evil. And I'll do everything in my power to expose them.
Well, and on top of that, they know, because here's what most people don't understand. When you've been mind controlled, they can read your mind.
Yes,
you know, they've implanted that stuff into your mind. So they're going to follow your thoughts. So as soon as the JFK assassin told me the whole story of the assassination, I started to get targeted.
Yeah.
Because they knew, suddenly I knew everything about the matrix, about this dark ball. This was like 1991. And I was like, oh my God, now what's going to happen? Because I can't tell anybody, because he was a client and you can't reveal things when they're living.
Sure.
So I had to go through this long period of time of not saying anything. And now we've arrived at the point where the deprogramming needs to start.
Sure.
And that's the work that I do for everybody, you know, the healing of the wound, healing of the shadow, healing of the mind control. And they're getting it through the lily wave on the TV. And I explain the whole thing in my book and how to back out of that thing. You know, you have to reverse engineer it.
Well, we'll put the link down below. And it's been an amazing conversation, Salini. And we're coming into a wonderful time.
Yes, I wish I could have a cup of tea and a scone with you.
Yeah,
somewhere someday.
I'm sure we will, because we're coming over to America this year anyways. My grandson lives in Boca Raton in Florida, and that's not far from Mar-a-Lago. So we shall be coming over. And,
are you going to go to Mar-a-Lago?
Yeah, I believe so.
Ooh, maybe I'll have to come on down. I don't know. Let me know when you're there.
Exactly. We'll wait and see. At the moment, it's just a question of patience and calm, and just knowing that everything is under control. That's the most important thing, to know everything is completely under control. The war has been won. This is pantomime, and everything is going to be fine.
That's what people need to hear. Let me just ask you, for this period after Wednesday, what's it going to be like? How much can you tell us about, like, from Thursday on until March 4th? Is it going to be crazy, or is it under control? Like whatever rioting might happen or whatever. What can you tell us about that?
The information that I have right now is that Wednesday will the clarity will start to happen, as in we will know that Biden is not the president, and there will be no inauguration on Wednesday as such, because we are transitioning from one system to another system. There will be broadcasting on all channels. That all television stations have been told to wipe their slates from Wednesday 8 o'clock in the morning, and
Yay.
there will be a broadcast, and for those people that refuse to broadcast it, the words were there will be serious consequences. And what I understand that to mean is the revoking of their broadcasting license.
Trump has signed the Insurrection Act, and he can take whatever action he needs to take.
That's correct. That's correct.
So he's going to stay in command for the next few weeks or so until. Is there going to be an inauguration of him? Well, we kind of talked about it, but you're not sure, or is he going to be he won the election, so are we going to have go back to March 4th like he did in the beginning?
The one thing that's very clear is he's sticking firmly to the Constitution, and right. The Constitution, the original Constitution, is very clear that the inauguration happens on March the 4th. So my guess is, and it is a guess, that he's taking us back to that, because with the new government, he will stick to the Constitution. He will move away from the law of the seas, Admiralty law, to constitutional law. So everything in the Constitution stands. So I understand, reading between the lines, that that's the way that we'll go. We'll go back to constitutional law. We'll go back to the control of the Constitution, which the Americans have always stood by, but the cabal has tried to change and manipulate and whatever. But I think we will transition. But I would think there's a risk of a backlash from the cabal and the deep state, but their power is gone. It'll be very much for pantomime, very much under control. And this is why anybody that knows what's going on has said now is the time to stay indoors. If you're on the side of the light, stay indoors, just keep calm, keep relaxed, keep out of the way of trouble, because you'll only get involved in trouble if you're out with trouble. But if you stay in your homes, then you'll be fine.
We already got in trouble in our youth, didn't we? That's over.
Exactly. Far too much trouble. Yeah. Well,
I hope it's not going to last too long, all this stuff. Do you think it's going to be over fast or lengthy?
I don't know. And I'm not worried about it, because I know the destination. So how long it takes, it doesn't matter as long as the swamp is drained. And Donald Trump, the one video I love of Donald Trump was when he was talking to Charlie Rose 20, 30 years ago. That's been flying around the circuit right now, where he wanted to lose all of his money so he could see who was his real friends and who was not. And
that's a very wise, it's the art of war, isn't it?
It is.
It's to appear weak, and you find out who your true enemies are, because they start to gloat.
Yeah, exactly right.
And well, good for him. He's certainly clever enough to do that, isn't he?
More than.
Well, we really need to make sure there's no rats left in the nest,
He'll make sure of that. He'll make sure of that. And
wonderful.
Even those that haven't made their minds up, he'll get rid of them too, because they're no good to anybody if they don't have your back.
Well, that's part of the awakening. And of course, he has to only have people who have his back. But what I know is I see people waking up here and there, and obviously they can't be in his administration, but I think a lot of people are going to wake up after Wednesday. Don't you think?
That's my belief. And for me, it's only a day, but for you, it's 2 days. But I'm quite prepared to sit back and just wait and see. I'm looking forward.
It's excruciating, Charlie. It's been excruciating over here.
I'm excited.
Everybody's got an ulcer in America.
No, I've been very, very calm, just because I know the destination. I'm very confident with the destination, and yes, it's been a war zone, without a shadow of a doubt, and there's been casualties, but no, I haven't lost my faith one fraction.
And in fact, I was going to say, I want to thank the freedom fighters who lost their lives for this. My friend Isaac Cappy is one of the people. He was a friend of mine, and we started together speaking about this. And I had already spoken, but the day that he started to speak, I messaged him and he called me, and we kind of talked every day for a while. And we see what happened to him, but he triggered a lot of this. Really proud of him. I warned him, you're going to be in deep yogurt if you pursue this. And he said, we have to do it for the children. And I know that because I was one of those children. We're doing this for all of humanity, but we're doing it so that no more children will ever be sacrificed for a demented religion. We want all the children to be safe and free, loved and nurtured and healed. And there are going to be a lot of children coming for healing, aren't there, Charlie?
A tremendous amount. And that's where humanity, in conjunction with medbeds, come together in perfect harmony.
Well, we're going to be there. I'm going to be there. I don't know where I'm going to be, but I have an idea. I'll tell you later, maybe in Mar-a-Lago over a glass of wine, okay?
Exactly.
Can we promise to talk again later, and when it's all the dust is cleared?
100%. I'd absolutely love that. This has been a very constructive conversation, and there's going to be so much need for healing in the next days, weeks, and months.
Well, I volunteer. That's what I'm here for. And if you want me to come on to your other one, is it a separate show, the Jasara show?
No, it's a web page that Lee Hemmington, who runs my social media, he set that up, and it's been incredibly successful. But I'll make sure he's in contact with you and gets you onto there, because it's very important at this moment that we get the right people on there, so that people can find out a place to find all the truth from, because it's been contaminated by mainstream media.
Oh, and also, Charlie, most of the women in my family have been disenfranchised.
Yeah.
By the men were all cabal members. So we've struggled through all kinds of different, really difficult situations financially.
Sure.
And I would really like to establish myself in the stream of abundance once and for all. So
sure.
Anything you could do to bring me in there would be to share it with anybody who comes to me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Salini. An absolute pleasure to see you. And I'll get Tara to book it in again later on, which will be absolutely brilliant.
I salute the patriots who are inspiring everybody across the world. We do it for you, for everybody in the world. I love you all. I say Om Namah Shivaya, which means take refuge in God, trust God, and Namaste. I see the light in each and every person who comes to me. Everybody has a spark of God, even the dark ones, Charlie. Some of them are going to come to the light. So I'm ready if they're really serious.